What's up, guys? It's Hardcore Stocks here. In this video, we shall be taking a good look at Palantir Technologies Incorporation. So, I think it's been a minute since I made a video on Palantir. Obviously, right now it has broken out, so I have to update us on Palantir, obviously. So we could all see the whole headline recently regarding the geopolitical about the Strait of Hormuz opening and all whatnot. So, some kind of bullish expectations people have with the Strait of Hormuz, Israel, Iran, US, signing a deal, especially between Iran and US signing a deal and all whatnot. But let's just keep that by the side and we focus on what we have right here. So you could see it clearly right here that the stock right here is doing very well. Yep, it's doing very well. But I am kind of worried one way or another because you could see it clearly right here that we have gotten rejected from this major level for the longest. And you could see also that while we were majorly getting rejected from this resistance right here, we were also respecting this major trend line for the longest. So sorry about that. We were majorly respecting this trend line for the longest before we came into this major downtrend right here. But most especially we were respecting this trend line, and all of a sudden you could see we ended up breaking below this trend line right here. So there could be a possibility, but a low chance kind of possibility that we could end up retesting this major level and dumping even much lower. This could end up being a possible scenario, but I'm not that sure because obviously I can't really predict where people will pour most of their money into. But this could be a possibility whereby we end up getting rejected from this level right here and we end up dumping much. We end up just correcting a little bit. Because obviously I've made it known to us from my previous chart that there is a major support right here, which you would see we've reacted positively to this support right here around between 123 to 127, which is obviously very good. But right now there are different major scenarios that could play out, which this right here is the first one whereby we could get rejected from that major level. Second major scenario which I think could majorly play out is us having to breaking out of this major resistance at $147. We find support around here, then rally breaking above $171, finding support and rallying even much higher. I think this could be a possibility for Palantir to still rally much higher, but the chances of this happening to me is kind of slim. It's kind of slim. We could still consolidate a little bit before probably dropping, or the whole AI narrative definitely making things drop. So I think this is also a possibility, or this is also a major scenario that could play out right here. So I think it's either this plays out or this ends up playing out, which I'll definitely be here to keep each and every one of us updated. We could see right here that the S&P 500 made new all-time high, which is crazy. We've majorly rallied into this major resistance right here. Let me take this away from here. So you could see we majorly rallied all the way into this resistance right here above $7,760. Tomorrow we could end up breaking out majorly, finding support around here and rallying even much higher. But I think we should prepare ourselves for a major pullback, which mostly Wednesdays are always when Trump always like coming out with some funny bad news after promising us for a deal, or after making people believe or investors believe that Iran have made up their mind to sign one deal or another. So if this doesn't play out for the S&P 500, maybe we could end up pulling back all the way down to $7,616. Then we can finally break out of here. Worst case scenario right here for the S&P 500, I think, is obviously seeing the S&P 500 breaking below support at $7,622, whereby we end up breaking below this support and dumping even much lower. So I think this is definitely what we should be expecting right here, which we also involve Palantir, because obviously if the S&P 500 is affected, Palantir will also be affected. And this aside, we could see obviously the headline that we have right here is Palantir Caterpillar results signal real AI returns, says investor. We could see clearly right here that Dow S&P 500 closed at record on AI linked earnings. Mid East deal hopes, which is obviously the Middle East. The whole peace deal being signed, or memorandum of understanding being signed. So we could see that though S&P 500 closed at record on AI linked earnings, Mid East deal hopes, a screen displays and okay, this doesn't obviously have anything to do with us. New York, August 4th, which is today, the S&P 500 and the Dow closed at record highs on Tuesday, powered by the latest batch of earnings from AI-related companies such as Caterpillar and Palantir that has switched demand concerns, while crude prices and treasury yields dropped on hopes for a deal in the Iran war. Palantir Technologies soared 29.5% and recorded its biggest daily percentage gain since February 2024 after raising its annual revenue forecast. Caterpillar, seen as a bellwether for the global industrial economy, jumped 5.6% after raising its annual revenue growth forecast as the build-out of AI data centers has fueled demand for its power generation and construction equipment. The move in Caterpillar made it the biggest boost to the Dow Industrials, accounting for about 280 to the upside for the average. Investors have been closely monitoring results from AI-linked companies. This earnings season, for any signs the massive spending in the space will be justified. Oil prices drop on Iran deal hopes, which is obviously this part. Also supporting stocks was a drop of about 5% in crude prices after a Qatari official said efforts to secure a diplomatic resolution to the conflict were continuing, while U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said a deal with Iran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz could come within the next 2 days. The tumble in oil prices also dented expectations for a rate hike from the Federal Reserve at its September meeting, down to 56.9% from 67.2% in the prior session, according to CME FedWatch, which contributed to a retreat in U.S. Treasury yields. I don't sense 1 ounce of skepticism amongst investors from oil to interest rates to equities, said Jack Albin, chief investment strategist and founding partner at Crescent Capital Management in Chicago. The earnings reports were certainly supportive, and that's great news, but I'm not sure a handful of earnings reports justifies a new record in the S&P 500, obviously. So major average surge higher. The Dow Jones Industrial Average rose 907.4 points, or 1.71% to $54,085.88. The S&P 500 gained 136 points, or 1.79% to 7,736.52, and the Nasdaq Composite gained 671.1 points, or 2.59% to 26,284,000. So, I think they just majorly each right here what the headlines is obviously telling us the after effects of what has happened from the technicals right here. So I think this is just majorly all we can expect right here from Palantir. I'll definitely be here to keep each and every one of us updated. If you do enjoy this video, subscribe, turn on post notification, smash that like button and share this video with your friends, guys. Peace out.